Did you know that your brain is the most energy-hungry organ in your body? It weighs about 1.4 kilograms, that's like a small watermelon, but uses 20% of oxygen and calories you take in every day. Crazy, right? Today we are going to take a cool journey inside your brain and see how it's built, how it sends messages, and how it helps us learn and remember stuff. Plus, I'll share some fun facts along the way. Let's dive in. The brain's architecture. So your brain has three main parts. First, the cerebrum, the biggest part of the brain. It's split into two halves, the right and the left hemispheres, which is connected by a thick band called the corpus callosum. The cerebrum handles your thinking, planning, emotions, and controls your senses and movements. Then the second part of the brain is the cerebellum, which is right at the back. It's the body's balance and coordination expert, and it helps you run, walk, and even dance smoothly. Finally, the third important part of the brain is your brainstem, which is the oldest part of the brain. It controls the stuff that you don't think about, like breathing, your heartbeat, and swallowing. Here's something cool. The surface of the cerebrum is not smooth. It's quite wrinkly with folds called gyri and sulci. Those wrinkles pack way more brain cells into a small space. Imagine crumpling up a big sheet of paper to fit it into a tiny box. That's your brain. Inside your brain, there are 86 billion tiny cells called neurons. Think of neurons as messengers running around, passing information to each other at lightning speed. Each neuron can connect with thousands of others, creating a huge network. They send messages using electrical signals. When the signal reaches a tiny gap called the synapse, the chemicals called neurotransmitters jump across to pass the message on. And here's a cool fact. These signals can travel as fast as 430 kilometers per hour. That's faster than a race car zooming down the track. This speed actually helps you react quickly, like pulling your hands away from something hot, or even just daydreaming about your vacation. One of the most amazing things about your brain is something called as the neuroplasticity. It is your brain's ability to change and adapt throughout your life. How cool is that? When you learn something new or practice a new skill, your brain builds new connections or strengthens the old ones. For example, have you ever noticed while riding a bike or practicing a new instrument, the more you practice, the easier it gets? That's your brain rewiring itself. The best part? Your brain keeps changing no matter how old you are, so keep learning. Let's see how our memory works. There's a short-term memory which holds information just long enough to use it, like remembering a phone number just long enough to dial it. And then there's a long-term memory which keeps information for years, like your birthday and like how to ride a bike. A part of your brain called the hippocampus helps decide which memories get saved for the long run. And here's something really interesting. Your memories aren't like some perfect videos. They're more like stories your brain tells itself, and sometimes the details may get mixed up. And also, sleep is extremely important. When you sleep, your brain stores memories and even cleans itself. The brain and the emotions. Your brain also controls your emotions through a system called as the limbic system. At the center of it is your amygdala, which handles your emotions like fear and happiness. When you feel scared or excited, that little almond-shaped part of your brain is working very hard. Here's the fun fact. Sometimes a smell or a song can bring back a memory or a feeling. And that's because your brain links senses and emotions closely together. And good feelings actually help you learn better, as the brain releases chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin that make you happy. So how can we keep our brain healthy? Since your brain works really hard for you, it's very important to take good care of it. Here are 5 easy tips. Eat brain-friendly foods like nuts, fish, veggies, food rich in omega-3s and antioxidants. Exercise regularly. This gets more blood and oxygen flowing to your brain. Get enough sleep, people. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep and give yourself and your brain rest and some recharging time. Challenge your brain with puzzles, reading, and learning something new. And finally, manage stress. Too much release of the stress hormones isn't good for your brains. So in a nutshell, your brain is a total rock star. It helps you think, feel, learn, and live your best life. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till then, stay curious and keep your brain happy and healthy. I'll see you in the next video.